The National Geographic program is brought to you by grants from the BBC and Slappy the Squirrel. Tonight, the National Geographic Channel goes into the wild to study the behaviors of Robert Dudley, the Earl of Leicester. Robert Dudley is known as a quintessential Renaissance man. Often seen in the shadows of other gentlemen, he was also seen in the arms of Elizabeth I, a charismatic man known both as predator and prey. Tonight, National Geographic will take a first-hand look at the unique behaviors of this extraordinary gentleman, his loves, his hates, and whether or not he can fit 2 tennis balls in his mouth. So join us on National Geographic's study of Robert Dudley, the Earl of Leicester.
Before we begin our study, we must first look at the unique traits of the Earl of Leicester. The Earl of Leicester has 3 identifying markers, the first being a son of Jarrell hair curl, the second, no sleeves, and of course the third, a riding crop. Now that we've identified the visual markers, we will take an opportunity to witness the Earl of Leicester in the wild. We will start by studying the courting ritual. As you can see, Robert Dudley is challenged by a more dominant male. This dominant male struts his stuff, and of course, the Earl of Leicester must respond. Robert Dudley's response is a unique one. As you can see, the swaggering of the hips and the swinging of the arms. He'll then pause and give out the cry, "You know why." The next courting move involves swinging of the hips, balancing himself, and then moving forward. As you can see, his pelvis is always pointing north. Robert Dudley will then demonstrate a reverse demonstration of this same courtship move, which is the 16th century equivalent of "I'm sexy and I know it." Once the courtship ritual is completed, the 2 dominant males face each other. They go toward each other and proceed to dominate by pressing their weight against one another. This in turn has oftentimes a negative effect. In this case, our dominant male, the guardsman, has determined that he chooses the Earl of Leicester as his dominant female. Food has always played an important role in the life of the Earl of Leicester. He tends to dine on multiple items, but mostly creams. The Earl of Leicester is rambunctious while he eats, but it's important to keep your distance from the Earl of Leicester, because there is a danger. As you can see, the Earl of Leicester has a bit of a stare, a gaze when he eats. He watches his prey closely, and of course, the eyes are almost piercing. It is important to note that when dining with the Earl of Leicester, one can become a veritable prisoner. We are now taking a bold risk at approaching the Earl of Leicester after he has dined. Oftentimes this is a very dangerous maneuver, but our cameraman has decided that he wants to take this opportunity.
Oh my God!
Oh my God. There are always inherent risks in studying a creature of this kind. Unfortunately, National Geographic lost 2 of their own in the melee. Our cameraman, Roland T. Hay, and our audio assistant, Ron Nasty. After such a brief study, what could truly be said about the Earl of Leicester? Perhaps he is a man who isn't meant to be understood. Perhaps he is here to teach us a bit about ourselves. Maybe in watching the Earl of Leicester, we learn a little bit more about how to treat one another, how to look at one another, and how to read poetry badly. Any of these things are possible, but what we do know is Robert Dudley is here to stay.
Don't drop character, whatever happens. You are a Renaissance man.